Well, good afternoon. My name is Andrew Freeborn. I'm a public information officer with the Kern County Fire Department. And for 2 weeks, I've had the privilege of working with California Interagency Incident Management Team 14 as a PIO on their team. Today, we have a number of representatives here, individuals that are intimately involved with the decisions that are being made to manage this fire. We know that the community, even surrounding areas of Kern County, are all wanting to know what is happening with the Borel Fire, what is being done to contain this fire. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and start with some of our speakers today. The first speaker that we're going to have today is going to be Sequoia National Forest Supervisor Anthony Edwards.
Hello, I'm Anthony Edwards. I am the new Forest Supervisor for the Sequoia National Forest. I'm also representing the Bureau of Land Management. We are both working together in partnership with and in this effort with the fire. Currently, we do have 3 fires on the Sequoia National Forest, with the largest being the Borel Fire. Wildfires are always a dynamic and fluid situation, and for that reason, the health and safety of our firefighters and the public is our #1 priority. We are thankful to have a proud history of mutual aid response and with our local and state cooperators here in Kern County. Thank you.
Thank you very much for Supervisor Edwards. The next speaker that will speak is Kern County Fire Department Chief Deputy Denisio Mitchell.
Good afternoon, everyone. Denisio Mitchell, Chief Deputy of the Kern County Fire Department. Thank you for all being here today. We appreciate your guys' patience in these matters. We know that you guys need information, so we want to inform you. We've been at this since last week with the Borel incident, and as a result, as you saw just yesterday, she tripled in size and ran into, some of our beloved communities, especially the Haviland and Paiute Meadows area. We are very fortunate and lucky to have the interagency relationships that we do. We count upon and depend upon the state, the local, and the federal levels of cooperators. As you see behind us, we have a wealth of people here contributing to the incidents, doing their very best to make sure you guys are safe. And in that, we always want to enforce and ensure you that we have the best there, and I believe that. I will stand this interagency relationship against anyone in the county. We definitely come together. The Kern River Valley area, it's no stranger to fires. We know we've had historic fires in this area. Unfortunately for the Borel Fire, we haven't had a fire in that exact footprint since the early 90s. And so she found that area that hasn't burned in a while. And when you align the low RHs, the high winds, triple-digit weather we've been dealing with the last 10 to 12 days, it all lined up for a perfect storm in there. But given that, the brave individuals that went in there to still make sure that our people were safe, trying to evacuate, get them out of there, to make sure, we were doing our very best to ensure their safety. So we commend our people coming together in that. We had a definite cooperation from the state and the federal level. Everyone was sending us resources from everywhere to ensure that we had what we needed in a time of need. And that's sincerely appreciated, especially considering the state of California is under fire right now everywhere. So to know that we had that help and that cooperation when we needed it at the most is sincerely appreciated. Especially when you look at our relationship with CAL FIRE, the Forest Service, the Feds, Bureau of Land Management. You look at our local unit, Tulare County. A lot of people came through to make sure they were sending resources at the moment that we needed it. We also called a lot of our local area expertise up in this area. We have people who live up in that area. This is our dirt. This means something to them. So when we're under warnings and orders, their families and loved ones are under warnings and orders. We've been going at this since May. We have over 1,000 initial attacks, fires since May. Our men and women have been pushing and pushing. We have emergency callbacks, but given they still come. So it's appreciated that when we need the help, you guys can depend upon us because we're going to be there for you. Lastly, we commend the people with the evacuation warnings and orders that went out. Thank you to those who listened and got out when they could. It assists us so much when we have a fire environment on us and you have smoke and fire and visibility, and it makes us hard to really get the area of the lay of the land and to get to residents in time of need. So thank you for those that listened and got out. We appreciate that when you do that. It allows us to focus our efforts on purely point protection and firefighting and not necessarily pulling resources to go find people and evacuating that part of it. Lastly, our hearts are out to those members and members of the public in Havilah and the Paiute Meadows area. We know they took a loss yesterday. It's difficult for them. We currently have teams in there assessing the situation. So now it's our jobs to make sure that concurrently, while we have a firefight going on and still protecting the communities of Bodfish and Lake Isabella, that we're doing what we can to help out those that have been evacuated, those that are in a time of need and loss, and making sure that we survey, assess, and then support them in their need as we go forth. We just want to make sure that everyone understands this is going to be a fight for a while. We still remain engaged, and we appreciate the support from every one of you guys out there. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief Mitchell. So now we have heard from federal, state, and local fire agencies. And now we will turn our attention to Sheriff Donnie Youngblood.
Thank you all for being here. Thank you to the team members behind us. What you see is a team that's worked together in the past and will in the future. And each team member has a different role in these situations. The sheriff's role is to evacuate people and save their lives. We go in, we warn people that they're under evacuation warning, or we tell them they're under evacuation order, and we keep track of how many say they're not going or how many are going. I encourage everyone, if you have relatives up there, if you get ordered out, go. We don't want this to turn into the Paradise Fire where there's hundreds of people. We have to go back and remove bodies at the end of this. We hope that we can escape without any loss of life. That is the number one thing. I realize people don't want to leave their homes. They don't want to leave what's there. They want to stay and try and protect it. But there's so many variables. It's not just the fire. There's no oxygen to breathe. You can't, once you're locked in, you can't get out. So listen to the people that come to your door, and we'll answer your questions, but if they order you out, please go. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff Youngblood. We'll now turn our attention to District 1 Supervisor Philip Peters.
Thank you. I'm Kern County 1st District Supervisor Philip Peters, and I just want to echo the Sheriff's comments. I know this is a frightening situation. It's one that we've become all too familiar with, unfortunately, especially in District 1 in the Kern River Valley. We've got some great folks with the county, great staff, and a lot of departments working hard on this. In particular, our firefighters and our deputies. We've got some great partner agencies working with us. And so I would just ask the community to, as the sheriff said, please sign up for Ready Kern if you haven't already. Please pay attention to any evacuation warnings or orders that you get. Those are not put out lightly, and God willing, we can get out of this without any loss of life. But please, for your safety, for our first responder safety, listen to those warnings, listen to those orders, and if the time comes, please get out of the area, and hopefully we can get through this as safely as possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Peters. Now we're going to turn our attention over to more of the incident details, and to get that information, we're going to turn our attention to the incident commander of this. Right now we have incident commander from California Interagency Incident Management Team 14, Jim Snow. We have California Interagency Incident Management Team 11, Chris Fogel. And from the Kern County Fire Department, we have Battalion Chief Jake Cagle. To represent that unified command will be Team 14 IC Jim Snow.
Thank you very much. I'm Jim Snow. I'm the Incident Commander, Team 14, outgoing Incident Commander. We're timed out here shortly, and we'll be replaced by, again, Chris Fogel from Team 11, which will not hesitate to drop anything whatsoever and continue the valuable and good work that's going on out there. Currently, we are unified with the U.S. Forest Service, BLM, Bureau of Land Management, as well as Kern County Fire, representing CAL FIRE as well. So just want to say that we're here for the community, and if I can get any message out there to any neighboring communities, when you're trying to make access to check on your neighbors, please reach out by phone, reach out by another method other than driving in there. The roads are closed. The more people we put in there, the more dangerous situation comes to you and to the community that we're trying to serve. Thank you very much for your day. Have a good time.
So now we've had an opportunity to hear from each of these individuals individually, but we have a number of individuals that are still here from Public Health, Congressman Fong, we have representative from Shannon Grove's office. We have many agencies, representatives that are here. that are willing to be able to give you those one-on-one interviews. But before we break to the one-on-one interviews, if there are any questions that we have that are for the greater good of those communities that are affected, we'll go ahead and take a brief moment to do a few questions, and we'll get those answered by the individuals that should be answering those questions for you. And we'll start right here, sir.
Can we get an update on fire?
An update on the fire. Yes, we'll turn our attention to Incident Commander Jim Snow for that.
Yeah, the update on the fire is the current fire situation is 33,000 acres, 0% contained. That's about a 30,000 acre growth in 24-hour period, as you heard from the previous presenters. We have about 1,200 personnel assigned to the incident, and the fire, we're talking dry relative humidities, we're talking dry fuel moistures, we're talking extreme fire weather, heat, we're talking red flag warnings over the incident that's making, with that terrain, making it very, very difficult to get in and go direct on the incident. We will go direct where possible, but some of those edges of the fire are just, with rapid growth, we're having to chase down rather than stand in front of it. Any other question there?
Are there any injuries?
We have had some light injuries on the incident, a lot of heat-related injuries. It is hot out there, so a lot of heat-related injuries. We did have a burn by a civilian that was in the area of their home unit, home structure. Did have some burns to the arm, and they were taken care of by ambulance to a hospital.
You mentioned this area of the canyon hadn't seen much fire activity previously. Can you talk a little bit more about that, please?
Yeah, the fire ecosystem here is, you see a lot of fire in this area, right, in the Sequoia National Forest, California in general, right? We're experiencing that summertime year-round. This part of the canyon and that specific area hasn't seen fire in quite a few years, upwards of 20 to 30 years. So, it has a lot of regrowth in there. It has a lot of light and flashy fuels. So, it's very fire prone. One match, right? One less spark stops the fire. So one match, one spark, that starts rapid growth.
How many firefighters would you say are out there?
We have 1,200 personnel assigned to the incident.
Can you talk about the situation in Avila, what the scope of the damage is?
They're still being assessed, so I don't have an exact number for you. Once we get that exact number, that will be released.
Do you know if any historical structures have been damaged in that region? Or it's
Still ongoing.
there was word of deputies who had been trapped and had to be rescued by Copter. Is that right?
There was a few deputies that were going to do evacuations, and from my understanding and the report out that I received is they were cut off by fire, and then as they were sitting there making contact for emergency extraction, the roadway cleared and they were able to extract themselves.
So they drove out.
They drove out.
Could you describe the conditions a little bit more? What kind of terrain, what kind of fuel, what kind of winds are you guys seeing?
Yeah, this is steep, unforgiving country out here. You look up there and it looks like a lot of rock, but it's not. It's steep, it's hot, so that sun-baked slope that's on you is not representative of, the weatherman says it's 100 degrees out, but with the heat from the fire, the heat from the slope reflecting off of it, and the heat from the general air temperature, you're looking at upwards of 120, 130 degrees at any given time for firefighters standing out there. And then when you add flame impingement, magnify that as much as you want.
How much growth has the fire seen?
In the last 24-hour period, we're talking 30,000 acres. Yep.
How many people have been evacuated?
Evacuation warnings for Havala have been in effect, and we're now on an evacuation warning for Bodfish.
Do you know roughly how many people that covers?
I can get that. I can touch base with you offline on that one. There is a specific amount of individuals in the Genesis Protect app. We are very happy to be using this app. It has streamlined the evacuations tremendously for us, and if individuals haven't, this is a great time to download that app. But we can go ahead offline, look up some of that information and give you some pretty good estimates of what individuals, the count of individuals are for each of those zones.
Right now, Lake Isabella is on go, but not necessarily on evacuation order status. Do you think Lake Isabella is in danger of potentially needing to, have residents fully evacuate the area?
I'm not exactly sure what you meant by the expression "go there,"
I looked
but
on the app and saw that they were just on preparation status to leave, but not necessarily forced to evacuate the area yet. So is Lake Isabella in danger of needing to evacuate?
well, I think the best way to look at this is that anytime there's a fire burning in and around us, we have to stay vigilant as to the conditions of the fire. No one has to wait for the incident to make an evacuation warning or order to go ahead and begin getting their affairs in order and begin leaving. Certainly, if there's something nearby, everyone should be staying vigilant.
What direction is the fire moving right now, and what's next? I mean, what's threatened after what's over?
Currently, it's spreading south-southeast towards Thompson Canyon.
Toward what?
Thompson Canyon.
When will the 178 be open?
We don't have that information yet.
Expectations for how much is ahead? I mean, we're already at 30,000 plus. Over the next 24 hours, what are you looking at?
Jim, you want to get that?
You know, you've seen very large growth over 24-hour periods. So with the red flag warnings in effect, and as they're getting extended, I would be fair to say, you know, mimic that same acreage growth. You know, wherever we can grab an edge, wherever we can grab, you know, retardant using aircraft, where we can use our crews, where we can use our dozers, we're going to take advantage of those situations. We're looking at the land changes out there of different fuel features, rocks, natural breaks, you know, rivers, roads, and ridges is what firefighters like to use. They're the safest and most consistent for us. So currently right now under these red flag warnings and why they've been extended, you can look at similar growth. We're going to do everything possible to stop that growth from happening, but it's nature. Nature sometimes dictates, you know, how the day's going to be.
So if it increased, what was it, more than 100% or 1,000% overnight, are we talking about the proportional or the same, or adding 30,000?
I could say your fire growth is going to be anywhere from 100 acres to 1,000 acres to 50,000 acres. The weather is going to dictate how it goes, and the weather is going to dictate how close we can get to put the fire out with the tools that we have to do that.
What about access roads? What is available right now to get people out, or if people need to get in? I don't know.
So we still have a number of access roads in and out of the Kern River Valley. Individuals can still take Highway 155, Mountain 99, and 178 to the east. So there are 3 of the major arteries that go in and out of the Kern River Valley that are still able to be traveled by individuals.
Did having crews like in place for the SQF lightning fire, did that like kind of help the response for this fire at all?
I would say because we were in the area, we were able to help aid in that fire. The fire, just because of the weather, just outgrew us as fast as we could get on it. So yes, we were in the area. We had large number of folks in the area to be able to get on it, but you can only fit so many people on the road to get there. So it took a minute to get there, and the fire outpaced by weather with the red flag warnings and winds.
So that's how extreme the conditions are. Even with all of these firefighters in place, you still couldn't quite.
Yes, sir.
Do we understand correctly that aircraft are on the way, additional heavy power?
Yeah, we have multiple orders in for additional engines, crews, dozers, aircraft as well. We're using night aircraft to aid night firefighters in the night shifts. Orders are in place, and additional equipment, more than we have, it will be en route.
So what are the numbers we have now versus what we're hoping to get?
You can double it.
And what do we have now then?
As I said, 1,200
Number of
personnel.
People, what about equipment, aircraft?
Oh, aircraft, I think it's upwards of 10 plus fixed wing and rotor wing as well.
Existing.
Yeah. I think we can.
Thank you so much for your questions. At this time, we'll go ahead and close this official press conference, and we'll absolutely close on a high note. Not only were those extra crews beneficial for the Borel Fire, we had a fire that started last night, the sawmill. Those resources were able to also extinguish that fire. So definitely the Kern River Valley is safer having these resources nearby. Everyone's going to do everything in their power to get this fire stopped quickly. And even though we're ending the press conference here, we'll still be available for your one-on-one interviews after the fact. And we thank everyone for attending today. Thank you.